I really like horror movies. I love the chill that goes down your spine when something terrifying happens that we cannot quite explain. The fear of the unknown is, if we can call it that, one of the best types of fear that we can see in movies and anime. And I don't know about you, but I couldn't experience this feeling for a long time. Movies started to become predictable and uneventful. There are a lot of movies that I consider great horror movies. Aliens, The Thing, Sinister are, in my opinion, very good films that arouse uncertainty and fear in a viewer. But what's next? What if the feeling goes away for good and you have to look for new ways to get scared? Recently, I have been more and more willing to return to manga or reading books that contain horror elements or are complete horror. You may ask why, and well, this is a very odd question considering the title of the video, but let me explain. Let's imagine such a scene. Many of you have probably watched it, or at least heard about mierukochan. And God, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Although I assume the horror element wasn't the reason for watching, the main character is sitting on a park bench with her friend, thinking that the park is only peaceful for those who cannot see what she sees. There is a ghost behind the fountain watching the young couple. There is a second one who is wearing a psychiatric patient's shirt watching the mother with a child, and the third one, for some unknown reason, is trying to get into a middle-aged guy. Okay, that was super weird. Let's not delve deeper into this topic, I'm not going there. The silence is broken by her friend, who is watching the children playing and saying that they have a lot of energy. After a while, she asks the main character if everything is okay. In response, she hears that she should worry about herself, because she was the one who visited the nurse today. The scene ends with Miko, the main character, waving to some random child. And here's the next scene. Why was this scene so terrifying? For me, at least. Why did turning the page or scrolling down a little make me almost regret not wearing brown pants that day? But let's check another example. Recently I started reading terraformars, I guess. The anime was too chaotic for me, and as it turned out, the manga is much better, but never mind, I'm not trying to start a civil war here in the comments. I will not delve into the plot of the manga, because some of you may be interested in reading this marvel. To explain briefly, scientists sent cockroaches with moss to Mars to warm the planet. And this, I guess, works. And the mission for our 6-person crew is to take 10 cockroaches of each sex to the ship and return with them to Earth. Pretty simple, right? After landing the ship on the planet, our heroes use the console to open the door. And the first thing they see is this wonderful view. I will not delve into what it is, why is it there, and what is the meaning of our life on this sad planet. When I started reading the manga, I didn't expect such a scene. And I'm not kidding, I actually felt chill down my spine when I saw that face, but why did it happen? Well, let me explain. In this case, we have no influence on when and at what pace this type of scene will occur. We are responsible for turning the page or scrolling down while reading something. It is up to us whenever we do it and at what pace, even knowing that something will still be waiting for us. When watching a movie, we know more or less what to expect. The moment in the film when the doors open slightly or there is a silence, we can be sure that something will happen. I am convinced that each of us has experienced this. It's very difficult to feel it in the books or manga. You look at this creature face and you cannot read anything, intentions, emotions, and yet you know this is a threat to you. I'm seriously looking at this and still in the back of my mind that if for some reason his eyes suddenly looked straight at me, I'm going to die of a heart attack. And what exactly creates the feeling of fear? There is an emotional component, a feeling of intense fear the moment we saw that something was wrong. Something happens that we do not expect and we don't know why it happens. We have a lot of thoughts, which translates into the second component, cognitive component, expectations related to the threat. We are afraid of what might happen and start thinking about that. Somatic component, the body physiological reaction. The fear we feel manifests itself as a wave of heat. We are covered with cold sweat and at times there is a huge lump in the throat that has to be swallowed. And the final one, behavioral component. To put it simply, flight or fight. The face we see in this single panel is instant. There is no build-up, it's just there. The fear we feel depends on how well a scene can make all the components click in our mind. That's why I said at the very beginning that movies are uncommonly able to do this, because of their predictability. And of course, not every movie is like that, and it's a very subjective opinion, I'm aware of that. Let us also remember that the media does not always have to be horror stories to instill a sense of anxiety and fear in us. Sometimes one scene, one sound, or even characters' words are enough to make us feel chills. The scene with the Chimera from Fullmetal Alchemist, Tomura from Boku no Hero Academia, or the man-eating rabbit from Re:Zero are great scenes that filled me with anxiety and fear. It's hard to find many horror elements in the series I just mentioned, but when such anime/manga provides such experience, it's usually even worse. Because we don't expect such drastic or disturbing scenes in this type of productions. That's why I recommend to all of you to search the internet for non-horror horror manga. But let me answer the questions from the very beginning. Why do I go back to reading manga and books with horror elements? Because when I read them, it's my responsibility to scare myself. When watching films, we are dependent on the director and scriptwriters. They decide when to scare us and how long the scenes should last. In the reading medium, we are responsible for this. We make the decision to turn the page and are left with what was on the other side for as long as we want. Sitting there, staring at what we found on the other side. We can experience one of the best moments of fear just by turning one page. When it comes to books without pictures, this is the topic for another, probably longer video. Thank you very much for listening me to until the end. This is my first video and it's not perfect, but it's fun to talk about stuff that I like and I know a lot of people likes as well. If you have any suggestions on how to improve the quality of the video in the future, I will be very grateful for everything. I really hope you can stay with me for a long time, and together we will make this channel a place where we can talk about stuff that we all like. Best regards, and see you in the next video. Thank you so much.